conference and opportunities. We are talking about how we can make good use of this community of Kenyans living in the diaspora. We will have about 1 hour because we have to stop at about 10:30. I've just been informed by the conference organizers. But we have 3 wonderful presentations, and those presentations will ignite certain questions, certain exploration, and networking. But I have the honor this morning to first invite a representative of the Ministry of Foreign and Diaspora Affairs. The State Department for Diaspora Affairs have been really, really instrumental in coordinating us in the diaspora. They've been very kind through the PS and her staff in supporting diaspora community in several areas. And they have a very clear vision on how they're going to build up the diaspora community and how diaspora community, by extension, can also embed themselves in Kenya. I have this honor to invite the director from the ministry to give us a keynote speech, after which we get started with the speakers. Boniface, welcome. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. Good morning once again. I'm here representing the PS Diaspora, and I have a few remarks to make. These are remarks that she would have made herself, and I'd like to proceed with the remarks. First, I'd like to thank you, to say it's a great pleasure to join you today, representing, of course, the PS, State Department for Diaspora Affairs, at this significant conference, more so during this session on Diaspora Engagement Framework. I begin by extending my sincere gratitude to the chairman of the NYANZA International Investment Conference and to the entire organizing committee for their gracious invitation and warm hospitality in hosting the delegation from the State Department for Diaspora Affairs. It's truly an honor to be invited as a keynote speaker on such a vital topic, facilitating the Kenyan diaspora participation in national development. I would like to acknowledge and recognize the crucial role of the Kenyan diaspora in supporting our nation's economic growth and development. Data from the CBK indicates that diaspora remittances hit a record high of about $4.94 billion in 2024, an increase by 18% from the previous year of $4.19 billion. These remittances account for about 3.6% of Kenya's GDP and remains the leading source of foreign exchange into the country. The money sent home by the diaspora not only keeps households afloat, but also funds other important activities, creating a ripple effect on the country's economic stability and growth. The State Department for Diaspora Affairs is committed to create an enabling environment that maximizes the potential of diaspora investments. I urge diaspora investors to engage with our Diaspora Investment Strategy 2024, which seeks to channel remittances into productive investments, including government securities, special economic zones, and diaspora bonds. The increasing remittances have prompted the State Department, in collaboration with the National Treasury, to champion for creation of a diaspora bond, allowing the diaspora to have a diversified avenue for investment while mainstreaming them into the national development agenda. We are also enhancing our diaspora networks through initiatives such as the diaspora-owned businesses, database, and strengthened partnerships, such with the financial institutions. By learning from global best practices, we will continue to improve policies to support diaspora engagement and welfare. In addition, we will soon launch a one-stop shop platform for diaspora investments to streamline access to opportunities and ensure smoother investment transactions. NYANZA holds a vast potential in various sectors, such as the blue economy, agribusiness, infrastructure, healthcare, and the fintechs. I encourage our diaspora to explore these opportunities with public-private partnerships playing a key role in facilitating large-scale projects. I call on the diaspora to leverage government initiatives and emerging investment opportunities. County governments and the private sector should also actively engage with the diaspora to unlock new avenues for development. I'm confident in the diaspora's ability to drive Kenya's socioeconomic transformation. Initiatives such as this conference are crucial in fostering partnerships that will lead to long-term investment. During the last 3 days, it's been noted that the discussions revolved around investment opportunities in the blue economy, agriculture, food security, tourism, nutrition, health, mining, technology, and innovation in the NYANZA region. The conference also served as a platform to present bankable and untapped investment opportunities in Kisumu, Kisii, Homa Bay, Siaya, Migori, and Nyamira counties. These open discussions, collaborative efforts, and strategic partnerships will pave the way for sustainable economic growth and prosperity in the NYANZA region and beyond. I invite the diaspora to actively participate in upcoming initiatives, including the Diaspora Investment Strategy and the Diaspora Bond. The diaspora's role extends beyond financial support. They are also investors, innovators, and ambassadors of Kenya's potential globally. Thank you again for this opportunity, and I look forward to a very good discussion here today. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Boniface, and thank you so much to the State Department for Diaspora Affairs. We are really privileged to have the opportunity to interact and look at the future of the diaspora. I'm just going to go straight really quickly and welcome to our panelists who have come. I'm going to go straight to welcome Dr. William Imbo, who's going to present our first paper, Harnessing Diaspora Potential, a framework for engaging the diaspora investment growth. Please give a round of applause to Dr. William, our first skill.
Thank you, George. Moderator, Mr. Monzala, my colleague from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs way back in time. Dr. Senorita? Yeah, yeah, you're one of our panelists. Mr. Let me see, Kenneth Ogendo. Kenneth is from Luala Community Alliance. You want to adjust it? Okay. Yeah, and Florence is a member of a diaspora committee for this conference. Florence lives in the UK and is a champion of an organization called Lives of Color. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, it is a great opportunity to be part of this conference to speak about the role of the diaspora in development and in investment in the NYANZA region. Now, starting from, if you don't mind over there, can you put up the presentation? Yeah, no, the one that was under my name. Yeah. Yeah, I'll use that, yeah. So it is a great opportunity for us to have a discussion about understanding the diaspora to first and foremost, understanding who is the diaspora from the Lake region, understanding what their current role in development and in investment in the region is, and then understanding what the future opportunities are there for diaspora to play a role in investment in this region. Now, you've heard from the representative of the State Department of Diaspora Affairs, and you will understand that at a national level, the government has already taken certain measures and made some strides in encompassing and envisioning what is the place of the diaspora in national development. Now, we are here today to break that down and talk about the role of the diaspora in a region such as the Lake region. So my presentation is about leveraging the diaspora for investment and development. And pardon me, this is supposed to be a conversation. So while we watch the movie show, we want to listen to one another about what we are talking about. So first of all, let us understand that the diaspora in any part of the world are people who have migrated from their home country and moved to countries in different parts of the world. They are often what you might call economic migrants, people who are seeking opportunity. They're also often people who are looking for educational opportunities in foreign countries. Quite often, these people find the opportunity and settle down in those countries. They begin to live in those countries and they settle down and pursue careers and pursue other types of economic opportunities. So what happens then is that they live with the connections to their home country. And those connections translate to economic support or financial support for families back home, investment interests of different kinds, and they're also quite often involved in philanthropic or charitable activities. So what we want to talk about is, while that has been the case for the diaspora in Kenya, it is also the case that we have never really taken steps to understand and to break down the structure of this diaspora. How could their potentiality be leveraged to spur development and to spur investment? So this is what we want to talk about today. So we call it a model or a framework for diaspora engagement in a region. While at the national level, there are other frameworks, such as government policy on diaspora, such as labor and migration policies. At a regional level, we do not already have that. So here's what is happening. What is happening is that the diaspora and their role and their contributions are on what you might call autopilot. You understand that? It's happening because they want to do it. It is high potential. It is impactful. But what is happening is nobody is saying, how can we harness that energy to contribute more consistently and more impactfully to investment in a region. Okay, so here's where we start. We start from that overview that I've given you, that there is a diaspora from Nyanza that come from Nyamira, Kisii, Migori, Homa Bay, Kisumu, Siaya, and so all the 6 counties have produced members of the community that live in Australia, in Canada, in the UK, in the Scandinavian countries, and in the United States of America. So these are the people we are talking about now. What are the engagement opportunities? Engagement opportunities come from the fact that the Central Bank of Kenya, more than anybody else, has taken steps to track, for example, diaspora remittances. Today, we are talking about $4.8 billion that are remitted by Kenyans in the diaspora every year. And that number continues to rise. So in terms of data-informed conversations about the diaspora, that is the most clear evidence of the role of the diaspora in development in the nation of Kenya. What about the Lake Region diaspora? What do we understand about them? a fraction of the 4.8 billion US dollars that comes to Kenya from the diaspora comes from the diaspora in the Lake region. What does that mean? That the diaspora in the Lake region, if we were to have direct statistics, might constitute 40 to 50% of the national diaspora. So what it means is that by way of conjecture, you might find that 50% of the 4.8 billion US dollars that come to Kenya annually find their way into the Lake region, whether it is Kisii, Nyamira, Migori, and the rest of the counties in the region. If you go to, for example, to Kisii town, you find clear evidence of the impact of diaspora remittances in terms of real estate buildings and real estate developments in that city. The city of Kisii, for example, has virtually grown as a result of diaspora remittances. Well, of course, I'm not discounting what else has happened, but a significant portion of that growth has come from there. So the question is, in terms of remittances and their impact, what could we talk about in the region? What are the lures from Kisumu, Siaya, Homa Bay, and so on remitting, and where is that money being channeled? And how could we capitalize and leverage those remittances? Now, the other factors in diaspora engagement that we don't talk about quite often is philanthropy. There are many of us who are engaged in paying school fees here for kids that are not able to pay school fees for themselves. Build a classroom in a school in Siaya. Do something else in terms of building boreholes for people who have need for water. But all of that is not tracked in the exact same way and in the best way that is possible, because the counties are not already engaged in recognizing, acknowledging, and therefore tracking diaspora contributions to development. Now, let me give you a metaphor. If you take it that there is a cooperative society here, a domestic cooperative society, and that society is every year doing something great in fisheries or in whatever space, there will be a great degree of recognition for that contribution. Oh, that cooperative society is doing great, it's doing very well, it's doing this and that. But that is not happening with the diaspora. Nobody is saying the diaspora is doing great. Nobody is saying if we were to do 1, 2 more things with the diaspora, this is where we could end up. And that literally, putting it simply, is the way to think about the diaspora in any particular region. And we'll talk about what is it we can do to leverage that. The other part of diaspora engagement that we need to talk about is the fact that having migrated from this country to a foreign country, the diaspora are people who join careers in healthcare, in engineering, in other fields, and they work in those same factories and systems where the Western world that we emulate is doing things. They're producing goods, they're producing healthcare services. So there is a certain amount of knowledge that is acquired by members of the diaspora that needs to be remitted back to Kenya. So we are talking about financial remittances, but we're also talking about knowledge remittances. How do we take knowledge that the diaspora that belong to Kenya or to the Lake region have and utilize it back home to spearhead and advance development? So you must think about diaspora in that particular way as well. What is clear is that we are underutilizing the knowledge of the diaspora in this country. And quite obviously, in this region, we are also underutilizing the knowledge of the diaspora. So that is what comes next. How do we leverage the Lake region diaspora? How do we create mechanisms which make it possible for the diaspora to be interested in doing more? So that is the question for you in the audience. What can we do to create structures, systems, and mechanisms? And that is what the point is about. Leveraging diaspora knowledge, capacity, remittances, and so on. The other thing is, the next item on my agenda is that we are going to talk about what kind of framework can we put in place as a region to harness the diaspora contributions to our development. So because without a framework, you look like this. You are somebody who is starting on a journey and does not have a clear destination in mind. Do you know how many roads can take you there? Any road that you take, because you don't have a goal, you don't have a destination, so any road can take you there. So a framework changes that. If we had a framework here that says every stakeholder in this region will create a model for cooperating and for collaborating with the diaspora, then we have clear framework. So what does that mean? That if I was the Chamber of Commerce and Industry in Kisumu and Homa Bay, I will create a framework that helps me to tap into the diaspora in one way or the other to fulfill the mission of the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry Homa Bay chapter. If you don't have that, you are that person who does not have a destination and therefore will take any road to get there. Okay, so what are the benefits of diaspora engagement? How can we benefit from an engagement? Here's what I can tell you, and maybe we can stop here. I don't have to go into the detail of this thing. Think about it this way. If you don't have a framework, you don't have a way of engaging with the Luo Women in Scandinavia organization. You don't have a framework, you don't have a way of engaging with Luo women in North America, which is an organization. You don't have a framework, you don't have a way of engaging with the engineers that are doing great work in the UK. So this is what it is all about. If the region, and I would have liked for the county leaderships to be inside this room so that I can talk right into their ears. Okay? This is what should be happening. Go back to your drawing boards and say, what as a county can we encompass in terms of an engagement framework for our diaspora so that there is an easy system for them to operate within. And that system must have a reciprocal benefits for them as well as for the county. And that is what we wish to talk about. And so if you look at it in the prism of the time that we have, maybe even if I stop here, I would have told you what we need to do. But otherwise, I would have taken you through the process of understanding how to structure a framework. And I can do that still. Can we move to the next? The important questions for any organization within our system to ask themselves are many. One of them is, why might the Lake region benefit from a strategic engagement framework with the diaspora? Is it possible for the Lake region counties to play a committed and a purpose-driven role in building the diaspora framework and working to harness the diaspora? How can the diaspora be harnessed for investment and for business and to stimulate the region's economic development? Those are the important questions. What opportunities does the diaspora from the Lake region present to current investment and development arena? And how should the region's stakeholders respond to that? And I think that's an important question because it's a question that says there is a women's group in Migori. They are falling short in terms of their mission. They have a very clear mission. They want to process tobacco and package it and send it somewhere. They have only so much money. There might be a diaspora group out there that are interested in partnering with them. But without a framework, that is not going to happen. There is a county government that is interested in building cold storage to support and harness the value chain system. And that county is falling short because government resources are short, something else is not happening here and there is a level of mistrust or whatever. There's not a governance structure to ensure that we can tap into. Why is the NYANZA region inviting investors to come and sample investment opportunities here? It is because there are investment opportunities available. Why is the region not thinking that the diaspora, based on its remittances and capacities, is one such investor that could be part of the region? That is the question that governors must take home and go and deal with. Unfortunately, they are not represented here, so I guess they will get a sample of this video and they can answer those questions later. What we wish to do in future, though, is not to wait for people to sort of sound the signal for us to say the diaspora is now hearing that the county is ready. No, we are going to take the lead in building frameworks that people can build into. You choose to go into it or you choose not to go into it. It depends on what your preference is. So I don't really want to bore you, but let's look at it this way. There are three things that we need to understand. That the diaspora are contributors in the economic arena. We contribute significantly to our home economies through remittances, which exceed, in fact, foreign direct investment, foreign direct financial flows. The diaspora is a reservoir of knowledge and skills that can be transferred beneficially to the region, but only if there are systems and mechanisms in place for that to take place. So if we created a volunteer platform, then everybody, myself and others, who live in the diaspora have a way and a space to play in the volunteer platform. What happens then, I come home for a 3-week vacation, one of those weeks is dedicated to going to provide a volunteer service in the field of my expertise in a particular place. But without a framework, that cannot happen. I'm not just going to choose to walk to a primary school and provide free lessons to students. Okay, the other thing is the diaspora is a venue for networking opportunities. What networks do, they are conduits for investment and for collaboration. There is a health organization that is willing to come and give free health services in Nyamira County. And I am a member of the diaspora. I am the connection with that organization. So diaspora is a source of connections. They act as ambassadors that are not yet being utilized in the right way. So that is one of the things that, so we could expand investment channels. We could, I keep asking warehouses and stores in Canada, how can we import avocados and fresh produce to Canada? Because any time that I go to a store, I see 3 avocados selling at $10, $15. And they're being produced here. So these are 3 important areas where engagement with the diaspora would benefit this region. Now, so what I think we are suggesting is that there should be a diaspora engagement framework, which in general terms means all the things that governments put in place, in our case, the region might put in place to engage with diaspora populations. The scope of such and purpose of such is to create a policy framework, outline programs and practices that aim to foster relationships between the diaspora and the region and the country that they come from. Types of engagements can be financial, can be social, can be political. Hopefully not political, by the way. Investment and development. Investment types, remittances, direct investment by individuals in the diaspora and groups of individuals in the diaspora. Development areas, education, infrastructure, health, and so on. Real estate, for example. Members of the diaspora could say, can we have 50 acres and we buy into it, build the infrastructure and invite people to buy property that they can then build for organized, planned urban living. Community development. If you don't know, the diaspora is out there and interested in giving back to their communities. So philanthropy, family support systems, these are things that are already happening. The county is a place that is committed to, or the national government are committed to providing the social safety nets that people need. But the diaspora is already doing this. Every person in the diaspora that I know is sending $50, $100 every month to a family that needs that money. So in effect, the diaspora is already taking part of the function of our county governments by providing directly to those families, to those communities, and so on. But nobody is acknowledging that, and we are not complaining about it. We're just saying there's got to be a way that we can put together these efforts and capacities and build better and build for the future and build purposefully. So in terms of, areas of engagement, what a framework should look like, there is something here called, for example, the Lake Region Economic Bloc is a number of counties. That's the kind of place where you want a framework, because we are looking again at the economy of the region. We're not looking at, who is going to produce cotton and so on. We're looking at the entire economy of a region. And so if we're looking at the entire economy of a region, we're looking at every one sector, every one organization that can contribute to investments, that can contribute to development. So how about a good framework for doing that? How about a good framework that goes beyond the speeches that we make? All right? How about a good framework that is on paper, that is shovel ready, that is there for us to just get into it and do the work? That is there for two organizations, women's group here and a diaspora group over there, working together to do something impactful that is a model for what we should do. So I think that those are some of the things that we need to look at. And if you want to think about it more critically, for the benefit of the recording here, the objectives of a framework would be to enhance engagement between the diaspora and the home country, in our case, the region, promote and foster structures for sustainable engagement in investment, promote knowledge transfer and development initiatives, and harness diaspora philanthropy. So the rest of this presentation is about how to structure a diaspora engagement framework that can be a working formula, a working model for the region. Those who have ears to listen, please hear me. Those who have hands that can take action, please take that action. I would take you through this, but I think in the interest of time, I don't have the space, because one more thing that we intended to do is to showcase actual actions by members of diaspora communities that have had an impact on the region's economy and the region's social services. So one such organization is the Luala Community Alliance, a healthcare organization that was built on the efforts of young people who left this country, went to the diaspora, became successful medical doctors, built networks abroad, raised funds, and built a community program that is so powerful and that is so impactful that, in fact, it is a model for what we can replicate in every blade of grass across this region. All right? So I'm going to take the opportunity to welcome Mr. Ugendo, who is the Director of External. Okay, so I will give you the opportunity first. Not her? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So we'll get the doctor, the Luala community, to come. And the reason I'm calling him here is because I want us to show, by way of an example, this is what the diaspora does. The other one that I would have liked to show here, but we're not able to be here, is something called Diaspora Care. Diaspora Care is a health organization built by Kenyan professionals living in North America that say that if I send money to my family member, that money probably ends up buying groceries. And that person's health is not improved if the question was health. So what then happens is that I have to send the money again. So what they've done is create a network of pharmacies and medical services providers here and over there. So they pay money directly to the pharmacy and to the medical clinic. And so it is your choice as my family member, go to that clinic. If you don't go, the money doesn't come back to you. So for sure, you must go and take the healthcare service. So these are the things that the diaspora are doing that are invisible to our minds and our consciousness in this region. but that we have to flip our minds to be able to think about. So let me call. Yeah, we will, yeah. So you want her to go first? Okay. So if I can keep you and Florence, yeah, then we can go ahead and welcome. Who's talking about investment.
Thank you very much, Dr. William. Apart from just giving us that fantastic macroscopic look about the diaspora, Dr. William has been very instrumental in managing the whole process and the content of this conference. He is also a lecturer and academic based in Calgary, Canada, and that also gives us an opportunity. There's something that is also talked about, which I think you can explore with him in the short time that he's still in Kenya, how we can get opportunities for young people who want to pursue further studies, how we can get opportunities for people who want to do collaborative research. And he is a very driven person, very passionate. And another thing about the communities and people like Dr. William Imbo is that he had an opportunity, he's worked here in Kenya, he understands extensively in the civil service in the community, and he's also built the networks in the United States, so he understands the continent from the grassroots up to the highest level. So this is an opportunity also for networking, tapping on that rich narrative, but also that rich experience and that rich contact. And he's a person who will you'll send an email to, make a phone call to, he'll get back to you as fast as he can. So thank you so much, Dr. Imbo. We have the next presentation, and the next presentation is going to be online from Dr. Sharidi Smith. She's an ambassador. She's the founder of the Global Mogul Center for Leadership, and she's going to talk about diaspora involvement in global economic development. She unfortunately couldn't make it physically, but she's going to be joining us from Atlanta to give the second presentation before we go to the next level. Thank you. Could the technical person get her online so that we can get that presentation, please? Thank you.
Time would not permit it this year, but I promise to plant my feet on the soil as soon as possible. So this year's theme is Towards Economic Transformation for Socioeconomic Growth and Development. I want to also thank, next slide, please. I want to thank the leadership, conference leadership, for the invitation to speak here, specifically Mr. Jafalende, who invited me on this year as well as last year. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak here in Kenya. It is a delight to be here and to talk more about the collaborative efforts of the global and the historic diaspora with you all today. Next slide, please. I would be remiss if I did not honor His Excellency, Chief Speaker, Chief Guest, the President of the Republic of Kenya, His Excellency, Dr. William Ruto. Thank you so much for the opportunity, again, to speak here in Kenya, and I salute your service to the people, your vision, and your leadership, sir. Next slide. Now, I'll be speaking to you today again about the diaspora and Kenya, driving economic advancement for collective growth. I appreciate the presentation of Dr. Yimba previously, right before I came on, talking about the bond opportunities and the investment opportunities that lie within the region. I specifically work within commercial real estate development and would be really interested in having some conversations about what the overall plan is and how we may support more directly. But in the meantime, we will continue with the presentation. Next slide, please. And just to give you a bit of background, I am a leader in international affairs and diplomacy. I host a think tank in the US and West Africa. We have expanded that think tank now to include Botswana, the UK, of course, the USA, Ghana, and we have gone into Ethiopia as well. In that think tank, we talk about international business, international law, and how this impacts the movement of the diaspora as well as immigration. With the UN, I work chiefly with women's affairs, and in that we talk specifically about economic development and how we can expand the scope, the reach, and the support of women globally in business. I'm an advocate for the African Growth and Opportunity Act, better known as AGOA, as well as the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement. That is primarily what I speak about when going abroad, the collaboration between the two. I also happen to serve as a UN Peace Ambassador on the Economic and Social Council and have been featured in 39 countries talking about these specific matters, the importance of the African diaspora historically, returning to Africa to do the work that we so desperately want to do. Now, if you will get your iPhones at some point, that QR code in the lower right-hand part of the screen gives you access to my LinkedIn profile. I'm trying to be a bit more engaged, if you will, online. That would be the most expeditious way to contact me. You can leave a message there, or you can go to the website. But please stay in contact and let's begin the dialogue of the diaspora partnering with Kenya. Next slide, please. Now, on this particular bullet point, I want to talk about the relationship between Kenya and the African diaspora. And again, the previous speaker spoke so eloquently about specific regions within Kenya. I want to take a more broad approach in the conversation and really kind of expand the dialogue. Specifically regarding the African American business sector, we surged between 2019 and 2020. Many of you may also remember this was during the time of the pandemic. And what it did was give us the opportunity to disengage traditional models and conglomerates when it comes to doing business. And the data tells us that we experienced a mass exodus of people who are leaving corporate America, corporate jobs because of that pandemic, to look more now into global remote opportunities, specifically in the areas and industries of fintech, healthcare, infrastructure development, and housing development. Now, many opted for entrepreneurial ventures leveraging personal investment, private equity, and the experience, if you will, that they brought to the table. This experience, coupled with the equity investments, et cetera, is now positioning businesses in the U.S. to not only engage in business, but now become the competitors of their former employers. Now, in my research, I discovered that President Ruto said this, and I quote, "Kenya's vision is to build an economy that supports enterprise, empowers youth, and creates opportunities for all. Together, we are laying the foundation for sustainable and inclusive growth." I really applaud and appreciate that. Now, this, ladies and gentlemen, is what we call visionary leadership. And this is the kind of leadership the diaspora can economically, politically, and socially support while partnering with Kenya. These are truly exciting times. As Africa specifically, Kenya is distinguishing its economy in the areas of, for example, renewable energy. Okay? Now, Kenya is not only modeling the virtues of clean energy, Kenya is also leading the charge in sustainability. Now, evidence shows us that these are times when investment and industry collaborations, if you will, like agri-tech, will find their momentum and their innovation in Africa and in the African diaspora, particularly in the areas of IP mergers, okay? Next slide, please. Further that dialogue regarding the relationship between the diaspora and Kenya. Kenya is one of 35 sub-Saharan countries that benefits from the preferential access to U.S. markets under AGOA. Now, I really want you to pay close attention to this. U.S. imports of products made in Kenya can and do import these goods duty-free. So I want to repeat that. Many of the U.S. Products made from Kenya are imported duty-free. What this does, ladies and gentlemen, is result in price competitiveness. Now, I want to make this plug, if you will, regarding this specific piece of legislation. It expires this year in September. Now, if we don't renew that, I believe it will be a grave loss to the relationships economically between the two regions, okay? What I am specifically asking for is that the ministers of finance, ministers of trade, ministers of commerce would contact their U.S. counterparts and lobby with us for the extension of this piece of legislation, that you take it a step further and that you personally and directly engage with those businesses in the diaspora who can best leverage this piece of legislation. Now, in addition to AGOA, and most significantly, Kenya's participation in the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement is absolutely vital. This agreement truly is the lifeblood of Pan-Africa's economic success. The agreement and Kenya's active participation creates the ecosystem for strong trade integration and for the economic power of the country and its citizens. Now, in our opinion, when you add the two pieces of legislation, when you add AGOA and the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, what should emerge from that is an economic strategy with generational surges that helps with developing economic wealth, and it does so in a comprehensive manner. Now, Kenya and its global citizens advance within and without these borders with these two pieces of legislation intact. Next slide, please. This is the area I am most passionate about. This particular initiative, if you will, has now taken on a life of its own when it comes to my organization and what we do globally in assisting the diaspora connecting with various countries of return. Now, ignited by former President Nana Akufo-Addo, you all, I'm in another time zone, and pardon me for that. This catapulted Ghana's tourism, foreign investment, infrastructure development projects, and requests for citizenship for long-term work agreements and sustainable job creation. What we have discovered is that IP development is on the rise. Economic growth is on the rise. And we fully expect this to be the trend with the new president of John Mahama, who has said, and I quote, "Ghana is open for business and further welcomes her citizens home." Now, with Kenya's return, I believe this is a vital and a pivotal time in us leveraging the opportunity for this return to take place. We, ladies and gentlemen, are in a divine moment. Expedite, if you will, thank you for that slide, those opportunities for citizenship, for visas, for permits. We're asking that the process be streamlined and be so user-friendly that it expedites that process, putting people to work, extending agreements, opening the doors of collaboration, and rebuilding those opportunities that may have gone waste because of historical challenges, we'll put it that way. In our return, we ask that be at the forefront, that as we join together the historical and the continental diaspora, that we bring all of our genius to the table for the love of country, for the love of people, ensuring that countries like Kenya, specifically Kenya, will expand its economy, creating opportunities for its people that will be leveraged, if you will, for generations to come. And with that, I will yield back whatever time is left in respect of the other speakers. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Give a round of applause. That's really, really useful and very insightful. And I think if you're talking to a diaspora, say from Canada, Dr. Imbu, if the liberals lose elections, Trudeau gets away, what's the policy that's coming up with the new conservative government? Suppose they take over, what will that mean for us? So the opportunity also to get the policy direction from diaspora is real, and it is there because the decisions made at global level impacts on it. Those are two fantastic keynote presentations. So I'm going to call on the panelists. I'm going to give you such a short time. Our panelists were going to give us a little bit of talking points. I'll call Dr. Senorita Isaac, who is a business director of Silverstone Investment. She's going to have 5 minutes because we're already running a little bit late. Then after that, I will invite Dr. Yimbo back so that we get an insight from the Luala community and from Florence Nyasamo, who's Florence is from the UK. She's part of the Diaspora team, but she's also a fantastic investor in her own right. So, Dr. Senator Isaac, it's your time. Take two. There. Thank you.
Good afternoon to all. Good afternoon, my colleagues here and dear friends. So as I see, the hall is very empty and but the best thing is I'm very happy to see most of the youth here, which is my very much interest in communication. So I will just tell you a bit about myself, because moderator told me that you introduce yourself. So basically, I'm a Trade Commissioner for Latin American countries. I have my own foundation, which is a Human Achievers Foundation, which works for women, children, and healthcare. I'm majorly also working for women's rights, and I do like to tell you about, I am the live example of my diaspora outside my country. So originally, I'm an Indian. I born, brought up there, but I studied in UK. I'm a doctor in child psychology. And I do connect to my diaspora by bringing in a lot of, goodwill of my people outside. And what I feel as we as the youth, majorly, I will, in India, when we have events, we have usually the youth event which is the first program. Why? Because you are the ambassador of your country. You are the ones who go and talk good about your country. And when you do this, you attract a lot of people to come in. And especially I see in schools, colleges, they say, oh, do you know this country has this and this country has that? And they'll say, oh no, we never knew. So once you say this, that you have these facilities, maybe say Africa is beautiful, landscape, weather, there are so many beautiful things. Till I didn't come here, I had no idea what's happening here, And now I'm here, I don't want to go from here. So that is the reason. When I was studying in my 12th standard, the area where we were studying, we didn't have we had some issues of that time, so we could not go to schools and colleges. But then I was teaching, so I was a teacher of primary class, it was nursery class. And there I learned that very simple things matter more than making big noise or making big things. If you are doing small, simple things and you are connecting with people and you are sharing about your diaspora, which is amazing. And very, like when we were working in our network for women empowerment, I'm working, so we have collaborated with the First Lady here to support the women, children, healthcare, because we cannot go to the grassroots level. Now what we are doing here is connecting with your diaspora. What we are doing is we want to bring a lot of things in the diaspora. Now what we need from you is to connect with us, come with us, support. And then as other speakers spoke very beautifully, your culture, you have to tell about your cultures, how the youth has to come in, take the responsibility. They have to understand what the things happening in the government, how we can promote our country. So that is really going to help. And I will not, because I've been told we are already short of time. So, but you're always welcome to communicate, and definitely we'll be happy to take things ahead. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much. That's so wonderful and quite concise. I'm going to call back, because we're running, I'm going to call back Dr. William Mimbo to wrap it up so that we get an insight. And Dr. William Mimbo will take us through a presentation from Lola and from Florence. And then after that, we will invite just a few interventions from the audience, and then we'll wrap this up. Dr. Mimbo, could you please? Thank you very much.
I'm back here to make the best out of today's session. And in this segment, I'm going to invite two organizations that have done tremendous work with diaspora involvement. Luala community is a shining example, if you like, of community health programming, of collaboration, of diaspora interventions, and of the power of networking. Ken Ogendo will take us through what Luala has done, the impact it has had, and I think what is important is take away that model, go and work with it, go and begin to imagine how you can collaborate with diasporas to create impactful programs in your own sector, in your own region, in your own community-based organization, and in the overall economy of the Lake Region Society. So, Mr. Ogendo, I do not have your profile, so I won't be able to give you that colorful introduction, but do it yourself. If you don't do it, nobody will do it for you. Thank you. Come.
Thank you, Dr. Yimbo. Good morning, everyone. Why don't you give your neighbor a high five and tell them Kenneth Ogendo is saying hi? We might be few in the room, and there's a saying that goes, do not be scared about the size of the dog, but be scared about the fight of the dog. The size of the fight in the dog. Do you get the difference? So we could be few, but the fire that you're starting this morning could be the best thing we shall do for this country, especially as you look at the story that we are about to listen to. So my name is Kenneth Ogendo. I work for Luala Community Alliance, and my role is external affairs. I lead external affairs, looking at policy, advocacy, and partnerships, and we are in Migori County, Homa Bay County, Baringo County, Kilifi, Mombasa, and Garissa. We are supporting EMONC, that's Emergency Maternal Obstetric and Newborn Care, and we are also just signed new MOUs with Kajiado County, Lamu County, Kisii County, and Kakamega County. We are looking forward to get to 15 counties by the end of 2028. Given the high maternal burden we have in this country. And this has all happened because two brothers had a dream. I want to invite our technical lead over there to show the first video to just set stage of what I want to do. We want to give you a real life story of how people in the diaspora can change lives and start a public health movement that is not only shaking Kenya, but also shaping the global health policy agenda. We have great coalitions that have come up, and the Luala Community Alliance is very instrumental in making them. We have the CHU for UHC. I'm just buying time as you load it. CHU for UHC stands for Community Health Unit for Community Health, for Community Health Unit for Universal Health Coverage, because we want to make sure that there is affordable health reaching the last mile in this country. And we also are partakers of SHIC. SHIC is the Community Health Impact Coalition, where Luala is a member. So yeah, you can play the video so that you can understand the story as I would be telling it. Volume.
Paving the way, and Luala is walking beside them.
Luala was founded by a community that believed that it was unjust and unfair not to receive good quality services. This community had suffered years of neglect, and when the HIV/AIDS pandemic hit, it exacerbated the health conditions and the health difficulties that the community was facing. The community got together, donated land, their labor, and together with our founders, Fred and Milton Ochieng, raised the first resources that created the first health center, as upon which this organization has grown.
Over time, that dream grew into a full-scale movement for community-led health. One where professionalized community health workers reach every household, communities drive change, and health facilities provide high-quality care informed by what their patients want. Our vision is that community-led health becomes the norm across Kenya.
In Luala, we stand with the communities, ensuring that they are able to influence their own health and well-being.
Our motto for community-led health has 4 pillars. First, professionalized community health workers, or CHWs, extend care to every household. Professionalized means they are paid, trained, supported, and supervised. Second, community groups are locally led support systems that hold health systems accountable to the needs and demands of the patients and the community.
Luala believes that no one can identify challenges and solutions better than the communities themselves.
Third, we work with health facilities to provide high-quality care to every patient. This rebuilds communities' trust in the health system.
What we do is work with the Ministry of Health to build quality in public health institutions so that as community health workers generate demand from the community level, then when people go into these health facilities, they are able to receive the care that they deserve.
Lastly, evidence and data are the languages that connect and improve all our health programs to serve the dynamic needs of our communities.
Luala's 4 pillars function together almost like a tree. Together, they allow us to stand with the communities while empowering them to take care of their own well-being.
Part of our mission is to unlock the potential of the communities, families, and individuals within the spaces we are serving.
Luala Community Alliance has really have a positive impact over the community, and so many people are being given services rendered freely with no difficulty.
Being born and raised here, this is a living proof that Luala is giving touch to communities to lead solutions to their own problems.
When it comes to designing health interventions, Luala believes that the community should be at the driver's seat. Through Luala's intervention and working with the Ministry of Health, we have seen communities trusting the services that are being provided at primary health care facilities.
Luala stands with communities because when communities lead, change is lasting.
When communities lead, change is lasting.
When communities lead, the change is lasting. When communities lead, change is lasting.
Together, we are one.
Together, we are one.
Together, we are one.
I think you can pause it there. Yeah. Or maybe just run all the way to the end. Okay. Yes, so that is one video I wanted you to see. And there's one more I want you to show, the Sons of Luala. And the Sons of Luala, we have Dr. Milton Ochieng and also Dr. Fred Ochieng. And these are the 2 gentlemen who went through a very tough life growing up. Their parents died of HIV, and they promised to come back and give back to the community. Their parents sold, not just their parents, even the community sold chicken, cows, goats, and they were told, when you go to the US, do not forget us. As he loads the third video there, I'd given you 3 links. As he loads that, as they load it, I'm just giving you a sneak teaser of what happened. They went to Dartmouth College in the US to study medicine. They went to Vanderbilt University to study medicine. Dr. Milton became a gastroenterologist, and Dr. Fred became an internal medicine physician, pediatrician, and also did a cardiovascular fellowship. So these were young men who were completing school in 2008, 2010, and they came back to give. And there's a blog that I would like to refer you to on our Luala website. And there's next up I would like to read for you. I will not read everything because of time. And their story is featured on a documentary film called The Sons of Luala, which is going to be loaded. And their dad had a dream, and the dream was to build a hospital in Luala. And Luala is in Rongo sub-county in Migori County. So when their parents died, you still read the story. The brothers joined forces with the universities they attended, the ones I've mentioned, and the church networks, local politicians, to launch a fundraising campaign. And hence even the Gen Zs in the room and the young people in the room, there's nothing impossible. They connected with the politicians in the US, church networks, fundraised and started the Luala Community Hospital. And that hospital has served thousands of patients every year, and it is a center of excellence in the region. And they have been recognized by ABC Persons of the Week, by APC World News, United States Peace Corps Directors Award, the National Medical Association Living Legends Award, the Dartmouth College Martin Luther King Social Justice Award for Emerging Leadership, and the Vanderbilt University Alumni Public Service Award. And I think we can clap for them for the work they have done, and we are really inspired to that extent. Are you able to load the video, or do I just go right to the slides? I think the Sons of Luala will be a good one to show. You can play it.
I think the legacy of the Luala Community Alliance is one of hope.
The initiative of Luala started as an idea. It became a reality, which is much bigger than any of our dreams.
To know that this story from a small local community in Western Kenya is now having a ripple effect and affecting, the world at large. I think my parents, my village would be proud.
The community and community decision-making is at the core of our model. This thing began because a group of community members thought that it was unjust and intolerable that they wouldn't have access to health care. Rather than waiting for someone to come and provide that health care for them, they came together and devised this plan to have a hospital and to have health services, education services, and economic services that radiate from that idea. Today, that has remained the core of our model.
Luala has focused on individuals, on families, on community. They've been able to adapt a model that is community-led, with community health workers, with not just a physician or just a nurse, but community health workers coming together to reach people at their level, to engage them, to pull them into a system, and to go into their homes to deliver that care.
Luala's community health worker model is a great example of what can happen when community members are at the forefront of designing their own solutions. They identified
you can end it there. I know how
women in the community who have been
time is not on our side,
to their neighbors for
but that's just a sneak preview.
Cut off from the formal health system.
And you can go to the website Luala Community Alliance, and you will see the story for yourself. So I just want to run the last part of my slides because time is gone, and you can load the slide. And I just want to show you the power of the diaspora being felt at the household level. Luala has embraced the Ministry of Health to have what we call systems change, and we work with the Ministry of Health and the counties so that we can have change that is lasting.
Cause for celebration.
Okay. So go to the next slide. So these are the young men, and this is how they looked like 2008, 2007, and they went to fight against health inequity. And we are beseeching those of us in the diaspora, when they go, please do not forget Kenya. Next slide. And this is the problem they were solving. You cannot fundraise without solving a problem. And the problem that we have in this country, in summary, we have unwarranted deaths, we have HIV, childhood illnesses, maternal deaths, and teenage pregnancy. Yeah. So what is our solution to those problems? This is a schematic that is summarizing how we view community-led health. We believe that when community committees, and these are the community health committees that breed social accountability at the grassroots level, if they are strong enough and well-oiled, and if you have quality professionalized community health workers, and when you have quality health facilities and you have quality data, when you have got these 4 anchors in place, then you will see change, the change that we are calling lasting change. And ideally, we are reducing maternal health illnesses and child health illnesses. We are keen to reduce maternal health morbidities and child health morbidities. And that emanates from the dream that Milton and Fred brought to us in this country. I will not belabor you with all the details because of time. So that's what we do, in short. And we train community health workers, we strengthen community-led accountability mechanisms like the CHCs that I've mentioned, and we partner with governments. I would like to also say that Luala is in a mission to transform the health system. We believe in systematic change and not having isolated patches of excellence, but seeing how we can replicate change from Luala to this country and to the entire world, as you can see in our logo. This is just a picture showing you basic household in Kenya from Migori County, and community health workers move with backpacks from household to household selling messages. I want to tell you in this room that if you want to change any decision in this country, it starts on the dining table. It starts in the household. The decision to use a condom, the decision to have family planning, the decision to wash hands to prevent diseases like COVID, all those decisions happen at the household. And that's why Luala is keen to influence decision making at the household level. At the household level, that's why we even make decisions on how we shall vote as a country, how we shall pass values to our children, and hence we believe in changing the household and building an ecosystem around those households through community health committees and linking those households to the health facility. So our theory of change is just what I've said. I'll skip this slide because of time. If you have traditional birth attendants included, we are keen to have all women deliver in the health facility. Kenya, we still have 11%. I don't know in the US, Dr. Yimbo, how many women deliver at home? Probably with doulas, isn't it? Yes. With health services provided to them. In Kenya, we still have 11% of delivery still happening in the village. We are having 355 per 100,000 dying. And those are no statistics. We should not be systematically desensitized to those numbers, but we need to think, what can we do different? And one, we want to convert the TBAs to become community health workers, not to chase them away, but to integrate them in the system. Again, we believe in quality, like I mentioned. And data is huge. Right now we're moving to artificial intelligence. We have the government of Kenya supplying smartphones to 107,000 community health workers, and they are able to supply information with those gadgets, and that gadget can be seen on a dashboard. So if all that happens, we shall have health and wellness outcomes, and health systems will be stronger. So I want to, so this is the impact. And I will not go into details because I know you're hard pressed for time, but I would just want to say that women are likely 2.6 times more likely to use contraceptives if you have this model. And we're also likely to have 46% improvement in quality of health if we do this that Milton and Fred began. And of course, 3 times more likely to receive care when they are sick if you have the children immunized. So I will share this. You can also find this information on our website. So this is detailed. I will not go into all these details, but we are serving 8,000 community health workers in this country. We are serving 291 community health committees, and right now expanding this in Homa Bay County. And we have equipped facilities with an innovation that was borrowed from NASA. It's called the non-pneumatic anti-shock garment that helps women to, avoid blood leaving the vital organs to survive as they go to the health facility. And the data is detailed. I'll save you that. So I would like to move to one pivotal slide. We are planning to scale to 2 more counties this year. By the end of this year, we shall be in 5 counties, and all this began in a village. So you can see the power of dreaming from the founders in the diaspora. So this is the opportunity I want to bring to the table, and I'm happy that the Ministry of Diaspora, Diaspora Affairs this year, and we are recognizing that 4.1, around 670 billion shillings come from the diaspora. And diaspora remittances give us more revenue than any other in this country. So how can this money reach the last mile? And I have an idea. We could have diaspora-backed health funds. And I'm saying this because I know you might want to build a diaspora framework. We can have diaspora-backed health funds and have direct support for community health promoters. We can have crowdfunding for primary healthcare fund. Remember, the Ministry of Health in this country was able to come up with the Primary Healthcare Act, and we have the Primary Healthcare Fund, and the fund was apportioned 50 billion last year, and we only received 4 billion, with a gap of 46 billion. How can we match that gap? That gap can be only matched if we see to what extent can those percentages come to primary healthcare fund. And of course, microinsurance models and public-private partnerships. These are things we can explore, and urging the diaspora community to also look at that. And also leveraging digital health wallets and fintech solutions like the one that the community health workers are using. I would like to stop there and give it back to Dr. Yimbo.
More impactful than the presentation about Luala. That documentary and the direct evidence of the impact and the history of that community intervention is a very pertinent and relevant context for what the diaspora can do in our communities, in our society. Thank you very much, Ken Ogendo. A round of applause for him. Thank you so much. Now I want to invite to the podium Florence Nyasamo. Florence is a very dynamic member of the Diaspora Committee that put together this breakout session. Florence came late in the day in the planning process, but I can tell you that she was just phenomenal. And Florence will give us an account of the work that she has done in the UK for the many, many years that she's lived there, but also more specifically tell us about Blackfly Textiles. That is an enterprise that perhaps will receive support and needs to be evangelized, if you like, in the diaspora. And while I am doing that introduction, I want to say for the record that the diaspora has been a part of this conference's planning committee from day one, that we were involved very deeply in developing the conference concept, in developing the design of the conference, in developing the delivery of this conference. Extension to that, the diaspora was more particularly involved in the diaspora committee for making a representation for the diaspora at this conference. The framework that I just talked to you about is more detailed than what I presented to you. Part of it is that we want to see the diaspora in innovations, in impacting or doing interventions in micro, small, and medium-scale enterprises. The picky, the mama mboga, and everybody else that is underserved in our communities. If we are able to do remittances, we are able to reach those particular demographics. We have recommendations such as a diaspora investment fund. If you put a bait for the diaspora in an investment pool fund, they are likely to take that bait. They're likely to say, well, if there's an investment fund, I will invest. But before you have that, there's no incentive. So we want to see an incentive package for the diaspora. So without much ado, may I have the pleasure and honor to invite Florence Nyasamo to the podium, and she can take it on from there. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Yimbo. I'll call you, that. because of the hard work you put into this. It was a real pleasure to be invited to be part of the Diaspora Committee. The work that they had done for over a period of time, I personally thought, oh, you're doing this on top of your day-to-day job. And most importantly, you're not local. So one of the most interesting things, I remember one day we were having a meeting, and just to tell you about the dynamics of trying to be part of this conference. So Dr. Yimbo says, oh, let's meet tomorrow at, Saturday in the morning. So he lives in Canada. I live in the UK. Somebody else lives in the US, whether it's East Coast, and we're organizing an event in Kenya. The fact is, the hours of difference, somebody is midnight, somebody is, I don't know what time, but we still need to find time to meet, to discuss in what impact or what contribution, what can we do to serve our community here. So thank you very much. And George, all those days and nights that we've had the discussion, I'm really grateful to have worked with such a team, because I couldn't have asked for better, to be honest. Despite the obstacles, we managed to pull it together, and all of us actually made it here. So thank you so much. And thank you for all the organizing committee who have made this happen today. So I'm Florence Nyasamo. I've lived in the UK for over 30 years. And for me, Kenya is really important. And I thought, okay, if I'm going to speak today, what am I really going to spotlight? If I look around of us, everybody is dressed up in something. So fashion and textile is key to what we think about when we wake up in the morning. So if fashion and textile is key to what we talk about, why is it not spoken? Why is there no conversation around that? And for that reason, I wanted to spotlight black fly designs. And before we do that, there's a video that I'd like to do. I'm a founder of an organization called Livestock Color in the UK. What we do, we work with the community, we work with businesses, and work with statutory agencies. Our work is mainly focused on equitable change for the community, and specifically for the black people within the community, in order that we change the systems so that everybody can access everything that is there for them. That is the core of my work. But just to give you an example what we do or what I've done, I thought, showcase the textile project that we did. And this is about having lived in the UK for all those years. One of the things is that I walk around, I go to shops, I can't buy anything that is relatable to me, that communicates culture. So what do you have to do? You have to find a way. I know a lot of people of us diaspora who send fabric to Africa to have it made in order that you can wear it. It doesn't make any sense. So when I came across black fly designs and found out that actually they make their fabrics and ship and compose things abroad, I just thought there was just no way out. I would be here without speaking and at least sharing about them. And here, can I welcome, one of the co-founders? Come on up here. Come on up here. And just let you know, I'm wearing black fly designs today. Come on, stay here. Stay here, because there's a microphone here. There's a video that I thought it would be, if you could play the video.
Bringing us together to create using African fabric.
So we were just looking at ways that we could try and incorporate our African heritage.
Not being from Cheltenham and being new to Cheltenham, getting to know people and being part of a greater community. And that's basically what Lives of Color is a community building effort for underrepresented groups in Cheltenham.
I think for us, living in Cheltenham, you don't get to meet people of African heritage.
We've had many experts from Cheltenham pitch in whether it was to provide fabric, provide sewing lessons, pattern making lessons. Like we actually created our own patterns.
Also, I think it's quite cool that everyone has had the opportunity to work with Superdry. I think it's given them quite an opportunity and empowered them.
England has a diverse, I guess, environment, but in Cheltenham, not so much so, right? Coming to Cheltenham from America, I really struggled to find community, and upon meeting Florence and her bringing me into the Lives of Color community, I definitely felt more welcomed into Cheltenham. I definitely felt like I had my tribe or a group of people that I had something in common with.
So that is a project we did with a global company, and it's a global fashion company. And that's why I had to have Black Fly Design actually just tell us a bit about their stories. Because if they are based in Kisumu, exporting abroad, how can we ensure that culturally we are supporting the businesses? It's about us investing in fashion and textiles that is relatable to us, but also talking to the diaspora conversation. I think if you could, we will just have a brief conversation just to give you an insight. So I'll just ask some questions so that we can cut it short. If you just tell us a bit about Black Fly Design.
So Black Fly is based in two places actually. We've got the major factory that is in Nairobi and a shop in Nairobi. Of course, we also have the online one, but we do a lot of our production of the fabric and our design here in Kisumu, e.g. what you're wearing and what we're wearing. And the idea behind that was to be able to see how we would recapture color in its all forms of diversity without losing out on our cultural identity, but recognizing that we're also trying to be able to target a diverse market. So contemporary design, we're looking at recycling, we're looking at value addition, but our path for growth also requires that we recognize that around us we have a number of women who are also part of that chain. And so training them to be able to produce quality fabric that we can then continue to use and creating employment opportunities in that instance.
And what has Black Fly Design sort of achieved today?
Oh, wow. So you'll find some of our designs Grammy Awards, because we've done that. We've dressed a lot of prime ministers from different countries. We've got an amazing market in the US. There was a time we were addressing quite a number of people in the Obama administration. But locally, we've had much more, I suppose one would say, success with the local international organizations that then take our clothes, go back to their countries, and they're the ones that have created the demand for the things that we're doing. The idea behind having the online market was to ensure that everything we're designing, and this is what we do, it is measured to fit. And so we take measurements, we train people to actually take measurements online. We give them a selection of the fabrics we have, they choose the fabric, they choose a design, we stitch it, we export it. And by virtue of that, we've had a lot of callbacks, but word of mouth. And one of the things we always tell everybody that we dress, when you wear it, take a snap of it, and we want you to be able to go viral. And we've done that, including, one of our key partners, one of our key marketers right now in the National Assembly is one of our nominated members of parliament, and every single time she wears a dress, she'll say, Black Fly forever. That has really been very good. And I think for everybody in fashion, it's the understanding that I don't give you the dress to wear, but I give you a dress to make a statement, to sell it, to be able to be proud about it, to get other people to also feel the sort of confidence you feel when you're wearing your outfit. And in that way, we keep getting sort of repeat calls and interest as well. And we also attend a lot of exhibitions where we're also selling. But the other thing is recognizing how the fashion market is very replicated. We have to consistently design new things every single time. And so we we phase out our fashion. Every 6 months, we're coming up with something new so that we try and make sure we're ahead of the competition.
No, that is just a wonderful example of how a local product investing in textiles and fashion can explode globally. I came across it because I saw that you're featured in Forbes, and that really impressed me. You're not just looking to, okay, we've done this, but who else can feature that? So that is a really wonderful example. And as Diaspora, I'm really interested in supporting in any way possible. And because I'm a social enterpriser, I'm a serious social enterprise. So anything like that. So if we all, not just me, if each one of you could invest, and investing is mean, buy your outfit from Blackfly. That's investing. So you don't need a lot of money. You just need to say, okay, how are we giving back? How are we building, not giving back? How are we building communities? You build through investing in what is already here. So that's all I wanted to say anyway. Thank you very much. And it's been a pleasure, just being invited, and really honored to be here today. Thank you.
Yeah, we will. Well, let's get done. You can stay. Yeah. I want to take this opportunity because we are winding up. I want to take the opportunity to welcome and introduce a couple of people here who have been very instrumental in the work that we've done to get to this stage. First, I want to say the Gen Zs are great people. And I have Anastasia here who has been our social marketing person to evangelize the work of the diaspora. And Anastasia became a part of us. Anastasia lives and works in Nairobi. I want to also have the honor and pleasure to introduce the chair of the Diaspora Committee that did all the work that we've done side by side with the conference committee. Now, that is Emily Nyendodo. Emily, would you like to come up here? Emily was a speaker at a different forum. Come up here. Come up here and say what? Emily was a speaker on AI and health information systems at a different breakout session. Welcome, Emily.
First of all, I have to apologize. My voice is cracking, and I was really, really hoping that it doesn't call me up here to talk, because as you can hear my voice, I'm very grateful for you to show up and listen to the diaspora. I really don't have anything to add because I'm sure that he really covered everything, and I appreciate you. So it's important that we invest in the diaspora. It is important that we advocate for the things that he talked about. creating an enabling environment for the diaspora to come and invest in Kenya. I know that is already going, but we need a systematic way to enable that. And I thank you all, the panel, very much for all your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think we've overrun. There's still a moment for reflections, but we need to go back to the plenary, to the main hall, because there is a serious discussion going on there. So thank you for joining this session. It started slow, but we've got captured so much. And this is a huge opportunity. So now, if you could just politely make your way back to the plenary, and the members of the panelists will be here the whole of today. You can engage with them privately, network. Anastasia is capturing a lot of things for us, and I think that's it. So thank you very much. We start with one. Yes, thank you, Pamela. Yeah. Just
Mine is just to appreciate everyone. Luala made a statement. Dr. Yimbo, I want to appreciate you giving us that opportunity so that you can do research. My name is Professor Pamela Raburu. I'm an educational psychologist at Jaramogi Oginga Odinga University and a passion in mentorship of girls. I just wanted to also to assure this panel that Luala is real. It is located in my place, and I only got to know it from the impact on diaspora. The two young boys grew up after I'd left the village, and it is real. I'm really appreciative to the diaspora. Let's work together what it is we can do to bridge the gaps in health, in education. Girl child is my passion, so that we have this girl. I'm also a beneficiary of Luala. I sent my niece to do her attachment. She was doing community health, and she was able to work with teenage girls who got pregnant. Thank you very much. Let's work together to build country. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Pamela Raburu, for those brief remarks. I think we are done. Let's make our way to the plenary hall, and that's where the next action would be. Thank you very much, and give yourself a round of applause. Thank you.
Recording stopped.
That's